Hi. One more thing I wanted to say in my last video about toxic friendships is something that I do see a lot. I do find it common. It is slut shaming. And I do notice in a lot of friendships where it involves same sex, platonic, female friendships, it's usually women who may slut shame another woman via disguise of care, sisterhood, parenting, and so called friendship. And I just find it ridiculous because I've had friends try to tell me how to dress, how to present myself, how I should approach a guy if I was attracted to one, and just very inappropriate things that really have nothing to do with them. So that's something that you should look out for in a friendship. Slut shaming. A good friend doesn't tell you how to live in your body. It is your body. You should do whatever you want. It is your sexuality or lack thereof. You shouldn't have to have a friend pressure you on your sex life, whether you should have sex or not. Even the type of girlfriends who are like the ones in Greece who make fun of Sandy for being, I don't want to say a virgin, but someone who was not sexually active. They weren't good friends. Eventually Sandy had to change who she was to impress her so-called friends and her jerk of a boyfriend, Danny, and it wasn't a good message. I find that movie to be very misogynistic, where it shames a woman's agency of controlling her own body. So when it comes to friendships, if you can spot the type of friends who may make passive aggressive comments about your appearance, especially if you dress a certain way that a lot of people may not find respectable, if they may make a comment and imply that you are slutty, or even if they make misogynistic comments about other women, and then as soon as you bring up the fact that it's okay for a man to do it, they will tell you, don't start right now, okay? Please don't start, because then it contradicts what they are saying. It brings up their hypocrisy and their desire to appease a man by having this hashtag choose me on Twitter personality where I'm not like those other girls, and they will call you out if you try to defy that. I've had plenty of girlfriends do that, where it was okay for them to talk about girls being whores, but how dare I be annoying and bring up the fact that it's okay for a guy to use those so-called whores to sleep around with them, especially when they are drunk, because those girls would even mention the fact that that was the only way the guys could have sex is if those girls got really drunk and loose. So I don't understand why you are still hanging out with rapey guys and then calling those girls whores. I don't think you are good people if you can sit there and call a girl a whore because she willingly or not willingly sleeps with a guy, or not even sleep with a guy, but if a guy has sex with her or abuses her in any type of way, it's funny for you. You talk about how these guys are just using those so-called whores, but you apparently like the fact that they are using those girls because it makes you feel better, because how dare those girls get any type of attention unless it's bad attention, and those girls are getting talked about behind their backs from those guys that they sleep with or hang out with. I don't want to be friends with people who think misogyny is cool, especially internalized misogyny, especially passive aggressive comments that try to dictate how a friend should present herself. I would go out in public and wear certain shorts, and girls would literally touch my body or pull down my pants, touch me to tell me, hey, your shorts are a little bit too short. But those girls would be the ones putting their hands on me, which that is so not okay for you to put your hands on me. Or if I am wearing a shirt with no bra on and my nipples are showing and I am wearing a jacket over it, I don't need you to pull off my jacket and say, see, look at this, and make my nipples more conspicuous. Like, that's not cool for you to make it known that I am showing certain body parts that you're not comfortable with, because then that's just sexual harassment. That's not good friendship. That's not parenting. That's not mothering. That's not anything but just being hateful, misogynistic, and slut shaming. That's what it is. There's girls who may shame another girl for bringing guys home. Oh, you hang out with all these guys, you sleep with all these guys, and who someone sleeps with is none of your business. I understand if you guys are living together and a girlfriend may bring a guy home without your permission and she doesn't go over it with you. Yes, that is rude, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be your concern with who she is sleeping with unless you feel that that person that she is sleeping with is not a good person for her. I also see this happen a lot, but when it comes to certain friendships, they will give you unsolicited advice. That's how you can oftentimes spot a toxic friend, is if they give you advice that you didn't necessarily ask for, if they constantly put your choices down, if they constantly make ableist sentiments towards you. And this is especially towards those who are autistic or someone with Asperger's or someone who is neurodivergent, who is constantly being told, well, I don't think you are emotionally mature for this because of your condition. But you don't know their condition. You don't know what's going on inside of their head unless they tell you. You can't decide what's good for that person and what's not good for that person. You can make suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's that person's choice to make their own decisions. You can be helpful, but sometimes there are people who are just officious, people who just want to have control, who want to feel like they can control everyone's will, everyone's body, everyone's mind and decision. And that's very dangerous for you to tell someone that I don't think that you are mature to go to this party, or for you to get drunk because someone may rape you, which that's very dangerous. It feeds into rape culture, especially for disabled women of color, and disabled Black women. It is no one's fault that this has happened to them. You can talk about safety, you can talk about all of that, but you can't make it like if you do this because of what you have, then it's essentially your fault if people take advantage of that. People think that they know who you are or know you, and when you tell them you don't, or when you tell them that they don't know you, then suddenly they get angry and say, well, I'm just trying to help. No, you aren't helping at all. That's the point. And just because you're someone's friend or someone's sister or relative does not mean that what you say is always right. You don't always have to say everything. There are some things that you can keep to yourself. You can't always be too honest. You can't go up to someone and say, hey, I don't really like that outfit on you. And I've had friends say very rude things to me about my outfits before. I've had people say, oh, this girl looks so nice in that outfit. And this other girl said, well, you know how white girls are. They always dress all nice. And I was like, playfully at that, I said, well, what's wrong with the way I'm dressed? I'm dressed pretty cute, because that other girl wasn't dressed that cute, okay? She was pretty basic in how she was dressed. She was just every other white girl in a dress. So to bring up the fact that white girls always dress nice, which, okay, that's pretty ahistorical when you can think about how a lot of Black people traditionally dress up on Sunday. So that was pretty much a lie that you made, that Black people don't ever dress nice, especially Black women. When it comes to respectability politics, that begs to differ. But this girl didn't say anything for a few seconds, and then instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, that was a little bit offensive, the bitch gonna say, oh, I don't really like that type of shirt that you're wearing, Kara. Well, bitch, how you gonna sit there and make a racist comment about how white girls always dress nice, and then when I bring up the fact that I think I'm dressed pretty nice as well, instead of realizing that maybe that was a comment that you shouldn't have ever made, you're going to say, well, I just don't really like that type of top. Well, I still look better than that white girl that just wore some basic leggings and a nice t-shirt or whatever. And I'm not trying to put anyone down, but I'm going to go there if you're going to say that she's dressed all fancy and nice because she is white, and then look over to Black girls who are dressed even nicer. That's not cool. And toxic friendships often come with passive aggressive comments. I don't really like your outfit, or I just don't really like the way it looks on you. There's friends that can give you good advice, that can tell you if you look okay or not. But when it gets to the point where you feel uncomfortable, or you don't feel that it was helpful, you feel as if they are just criticizing you, and you can tell when someone is criticizing you. It's not the fact that you don't want to take people's advice or help. It's that when they do help you, you can sometimes sense that they're not really helping. They are just putting you down even more and disguising it as helping, because everything they say is right and everything that you do is wrong. One last form of toxic relationships or friendship is if one person feels as if what they have to say is right and that they can never do wrong, and they always criticize you for doing wrong, for doing one thing and making a mistake. But as soon as they make a mistake, you can't criticize them for it. You can't call them out. It's like they can make a mistake and you can't say anything about it, but you make one little mistake and it's a big deal. It is a big deal. So that's just the type of friends that a lot of people should spot out and avoid. And if you have those friends in your life, it's probably best for you to either get rid of them, distance yourself from them, or call them out on it. Let them know that, hey, they aren't being good friends. Hey, maybe you should cut off on the put downs and the sarcastic comments. It's not funny. And if they continue to do it by saying, well, it's funny to me, and they don't care that you don't think it's funny, then that's one that you should totally cut off. And if you don't cut them off, it's not your fault. I'm not one of those people that are like, why would you want to be friends with them? Because I know it's hard to cut off friends. But if you want to be healthier and a lot happier, then you should probably get rid of people who aren't good enough for you. But just because you cut off certain people out of your lives doesn't mean that you can't still talk about the trauma that they inflicted upon you or the pain that they gave you, because sometimes that type of trauma doesn't go away even after you broke up with someone or broke off a friendship. People will tell you that was so long ago. Those people are gone. Why are you still talking about it? But it takes time to heal, even if you cut those people off. So feel free to talk about that type of relationship that you had that you just couldn't get over because that person was so damaging to your psyche, your mental stamina, and health. I am someone that you can talk to. There's other people I'm sure you can talk to. Don't be afraid to share it. If you don't want to share it, that's your choice. But that's it for my whole segment on toxic friendships. So, yeah.